Our Heavenly Father, Mother God, whose presence is heaven, hallowed and sacred is your name and ours. Let your kingdom come and your will be done in and through us, just as it is in heaven. Give us this day the fulfillment of all of our needs, including the release and the belief of separation from you. Help us to forgive and be as forgiving as you towards ourselves and others. Father, Mother God, lead us when we are in temptation, delivering us from the illusions of our ego, for only yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. And so it is.
And so it is.
Please join me in reading our mission statement, which you will find on the white cards in the seatbacks in front of you. And together we say, the Global Center for Christ Consciousness is a spiritual center for students and masters on the spiritual path. We are dedicated to awakening the inner Christ and to creating a world of love, peace, joy, and abundance. And now for our sacred reading for today.
From A Course in Miracles. The centrality of open-mindedness is easily understood when its relation to forgiveness is recognized. Only the open-minded can be at peace, for they alone see reason for it. How do you, the open-minded, forgive? They have let go of all things that would prevent forgiveness. In truth, they've abandoned the world and let it be restored to them in joy and in newness. And so it is.
How's everyone doing today?
Great.
Good. What topics would you like me to cover today?
Protection for protection.
What was the second one? There was something over there.
She said going home.
Going home, thank you.
Transcendence.
Okay, one sec.
Conflict.
Bless you.
Surrender.
We got that one.
Not taking things personally.
What do you mean by that? Okay, thank you. Things about, going home and not taking things personally, projection, surrender, transcendence, dealing with conflict. Yeah, good stuff. There's a saying that came to me this week sometime. We all hear this concept, let it go, when you're talking about conflict and projection. And, when you're hurting and someone says, just let it go, like, thank you for that brilliant advice. It hadn't occurred to me till just let it go. The truth is, if you don't let it go, it will grow. The things you don't let go will grow. They'll become bigger issues and bigger issues and bigger issues. It causes us to reincarnate. It causes us to manifest the wacky relationships we have. Why aren't these issues just disappearing? Why aren't, I'm praying and understand. If you have an issue and you said a prayer, boom shakalaka, and it goes away, the ego would then be allowing you to know so clearly and linearly, problem, you say, boo, it's gone. That's too easy. Now, the ego can't not allow your prayers to have an effect on your life in a positive way. But it can use our belief in time to mess with us. So you have an issue, you pray, and it doesn't go away immediately. Because the ego is allowed to use time against us. Why? Because we believe in time. The ego can use our beliefs. Why? Because that honors us, believe it or not. The ego can say, well, hey, listen, hallowed children of the divine, you're creators. If you believe in time, I want to support you in that. Okay? I want to support you by all means. So a problem, a prayer, and the ego says, we're going to wait 15 years before you see the effect of that prayer. Why? So that you never see the connection of your goodness, your good deeds, your good prayers on the negatives. So that you begin to doubt and you get worn down by this world. You see? So that you don't believe in the truth of how this all works. So, letting things go, you can't, that's why a phrase of Jesus or even apostles and so on, believe without seeing, right? Blessed are you who believe without seeing the evidence. What he's saying there is, blessed are you who know and believe that even though here's an issue, here's a prayer, is it coming through right away? I don't know and I don't care. All I know is the prayer worked and it'll dissipate when it dissipates. Don't get attached. Where's my miracle? Come on. Where's my miracle? It's not, I don't see it yet. And those are the games of the ego. That evil ego. Well, it isn't. These are contracts we've created. We allowed time to be here so that we could mess with ourselves and not be the holy beings that we are. So we gave permission for this and everything else for that matter. So it's not that I'm saying, naughty ego, it's an evil force, or I'm not saying that. It's something we created, we allowed. But the things that we don't let go of, those things we don't let go will grow. Why? And it's because they're going to magnify so that we see them, which is a good thing. Not that the ego is hoping we're going to see it. The ego is hoping that the bigger your problems become, the more you believe in them. So it takes quite an evolved person to say, it's getting larger and larger, and I'm believing in it even less. How many of us have ever said to a hurtful person, the more annoying you become, the more free I feel. It's typically not the way we do this. But that's what Christ consciousness is trying to get across. Blessed are you who believe without seeing. And when you call something, there's believing. But remember, believing implies, I kind of think so. That's different than the word knowing. Knowing, absolutely without doubt, I know, I get it. You see the difference? So I'm not saying believing is wrong. I'm just saying it's not as strong as knowing. So for now, I believe in the power of time. Now I believe in whatever happens to be. And there will be a day when I drop those beliefs. That's not the end. The end is the absolute knowing. And you don't have to wait till someday when you arise, into the higher dimensions, then you get a knowing. No. You can practice the knowing today. You can practice it at this point where you say, there's this stuff that's going on. Problems are getting bigger. I'm doing the prayers, but it's not happening, and I'm watching and I'm timing. It's not happening. Stop and say, isn't that funny? That despite the way it looks, the way I believe it seems to have power, deep down, I know that only God is the power. Deep down, I know that prayers have to work. This is not the religion of superstition. I used to call it, there's traditions and religions that focus on the cross. So I always called, this other thing, the religion of the crossed fingers, where you hope things will work out. We have daily rituals. Please, please, please is my mantra. That's not somebody who's in the knowing. So practice, I don't know where I come up with these things, but you have no life. All you can do is download good things. So you get past that, I hope, to I believe. And then I believe becomes I know. So I know that we are holy children of God. I, Michael, and any of us, but I, Michael, I know that we're holy children of God. However, there are still, you stub your toe and it hurts. Does that mean I'm going to let that stub toe, that pain, make me lose what I know to be true? No. You'll grab the toe and ow, and you're whatever, pain, crying, cussing, whatever it is. It doesn't change my deep knowing. Does it always change your deep knowing? Right, you keep that. Keep that for yourself. Despite the way things look, I know the truth of God. Somewhere, right now, I'm even having doubts. Doubts and knowing are different. They're kind of mutually exclusive. But I don't judge myself for that. I just know the truth, but respect the illusion. Know that everything's okay. I'm a good person. But things, I being any of us, I know I'm a good person, but isn't that weird that weird things still happen? I'm a good person, but I still, got a traffic ticket. I still stubbed a toe. It's okay. Have that attitude of this thing that's happening does not actually affect the real me. And I'm telling you because it really doesn't. It really doesn't. But it seems like it. So cry, be frustrated, feel what you're feeling. It happens. But don't take it on as a replaced belief. Like I know in the truth of God, stub my toe, now I don't believe in God. Just allow for a moment, wow, it appears that I'm in pain, which is ironic because I have no real body. It's a hologram. But it's a holographic pain I'm feeling. But does it change who I am? No. And you know what? That can be anything from confusing to you, to sad to you, to whatever other emotion it brings you to know you're actually a holy being. And when people throw you under the bus, hurt you in some way, you don't say, well, I thought I was this, but I'm this. Don't do that thing there, the absolutisms. Instead, isn't this funny? Because this is what seems to be, but yet the truth is it can't. Allow that foot in the door for the truth of God. Does that make sense? Yes. Yeah. So, and that's one of you's asking about transcendence. That's, in a sense, that's how you do an instant transcendence of something. Even if it's just emotional stuff. Transcendence means, despite the way things are happening, this is the truth of God. Now, there are mystics that write about transcendence, and they have some amazing epiphanies and grand consciousness shifts and all that. Don't compare to them. Don't try to get what they got. That's their version. Start with your day-to-day transcendence, which starts with, this is what seems to be happening, but I know that there's a deeper truth here. And when you get that, you might have some resistance to any grand epiphanies, so it might just seem like a tiny shift. You start there, and you'll start to notice there are times when transcendence in the greatest form comes to you. Like, I was completely upset about this thing that happened to me, and it's weird. All of a sudden, I'm feeling the presence of God. How could that possibly happen? I was hurting. Well, because you transcended what was happening, which means you didn't allow it the power that it once seemed to have. Don't think this means that you have to be standing on a red rock mountain in Sedona and suddenly turn into a light body and your friends are like, wow, 1 minute we were just having beers on the red rocks and the next minute one of our friends started glowing. And of course everybody says there must have been something in that beer, But, we kind of brush it off like that. No, man, it's so great. Even that is a transcending experience. Just a shift from hurt in here, hurt. Patterns of yours that you break. Addiction. I was struggling with addiction, and now it doesn't feel like a struggle. I just feel clear. That's not of interest to me. That's a transcendence. Well, yeah, but you weren't glowing. Stop comparing yourself to that. Each person will have their own form of transcendence. Okay? Now, we also think letting go, or it will grow. We think that letting go means just negatives. Okay, but there are negatives. Letting go of the obsessive mind. I have this, a stub toe and it hurts, and you tell everybody that it hurts. You make sure you tell you're telling somebody, God, I just hurt my toe. And they're like, dude, I'm just a Starbucks person. I'm just giving you a coffee. Why are you telling me? Because I have to tell everybody. And it's called obsessing. Hey, have I told you? Hey, all your family members you haven't talked to in 20 years, I stubbed my toe. Whatever pain you're going through, you got to tell everybody. It's called obsessive behavior. You're going into this weird grind, loop. That's not letting it go. Letting it go doesn't mean I'm going to pretend it didn't happen. Oh, yeah. I went through divorce. Yes, they took everything. I was a millionaire when I met them. They were broke. Somehow they took everything. And it was weird because the judge in the court looked at me and winked like, life sucks, doesn't it? I could tell that they looked at me with absolute disdain. I don't like the color of your hair. I'm giving your ex everything that you should have had. And you're just sitting there holding, and you go, but I totally let it go. That's not real letting it go. Especially if you think about it or talk about it, you really didn't let it go. Yes, I did. I only think about it a couple times a day. Guys, you know what? It's better for you to be honest and go, I'm working on that. But it does still hurt. You see, just be honest, It hurts sometimes, but set the goal to letting it go. And if not, it'll grow. When I hold that in and pretend I'm over it, and where I started minutes ago, when you tell someone or someone tells you, oh, you're hurting? Oh, somebody destroyed your life? Oh, just let it go. It's very insensitive for people to say that, including you, if that's what you tell people. Do not tell people, just let it go. It's rude and it's insensitive. Those people that, things like, oh, that's just a story. Oh, man, if there's a hell, they would go there because it's completely hurting other people. But they wouldn't have to actually go to that hell because the truth of the matter is when people say that, oh, just let it go. You know what it really means? They have no idea how to handle the situation, so they brush you off. They don't really know how to go there with you. They're panicking inside. You have hurt I know not of how to deal with it, so let it go. They throw that out there. All it means is they know not what they do. They know not what they say. So my advice would be, don't be one of them. It's insensitive. I know that it sounds like, well, I was just trying to tell them it would be better if you just let it go. Guys, you can't just let things go. You process them until they're gone. You can't just magically, this and this and this happened to me, but I just went, gone. I did Om Mani Padme, gone. Chant, and lo and behold, I don't have any hurt whatsoever. What you do is you start at one level talking about it, journaling it, crying, vomiting, counseling, sponsorships, whatever your level of processing it, you process it until it feels complete. You process it, talk and work it, not obsessing, but you process it properly, whatever proper would seem to you. And you go to higher levels and you start to get epiphanies. And what started as they did such and such shifts into, I'm having this experience and I'm working on this. Not just forgiving them, I'm now working on the process, my patterns. And I'm changing, rising, new levels of transcending. And then one day you get to a point where it's not where you just snapped a finger and pretend to let it go. It's gone. The neurons aren't there anymore. Even the memories somehow got rewired. Something has changed. That's what it really looks like. Forgiveness, I've said many times, it's not an event, it's a process. So there are letting go of negatives, meaning hurts. People, insensitive behaviors, people that were neglectful or overtly harmful, selfish. We do have to let those things go, but it's a process, which is cool. I mean, if you really understand it. But it also means don't be attached to the labels. Well, I would like to let this go, but this person, and everybody loves to use the word narcissistic these days. Oh, my mother-in-law, she's so narcissistic. She probably is. That's fine. That's your opinion. But I'm saying to start labeling everybody is actually locking you into them. If I give you a label for your, and including counselors who tell you you're bipolar and they're narcissistic and the labels actually locks everybody into that thing. There's no freedom in that. So partly letting go means freedom. It's like, an unraveling. It's pretty cool if you think about it. But no matter how spiritual we think we are, it's going to leak in. The ego is going to try to infiltrate and get you to the word attach, to those labels. Attaching that my ex was this, my mother was that. And I'm not saying they weren't behaving like that. In the hologram of this world, yes, they probably did. I get that. I'm saying, why are you attached? If you want to let something go, it implies releasing the attachment to how you saw it and the labels you put on it. Does that make sense? You step up and not just, well, why isn't it gone? Well, did you release attachments? Well, no, but that's not my job. Tell them to change. See, now I'm attached to them being this way. Sometimes forgiveness it implies that not just what people did to you, but your wish that they hadn't, which is an attachment. You sit around going, if only they hadn't. But they did. Yeah, but I wish they hadn't. Like, wow, thank you for sharing. What good does that do at all? Because I just wish they hadn't. Or I wish my mom would have been nicer to me. But if she wasn't, she wasn't. So let's process that forgiveness instead of wishing she were different. Anytime you're wishing, you're hooked. There's all these amens in the audience. Whoa. You can even have spiritual attachments. Believe it or not, we have attachments as to what we think God is. Right? It's like God is this giant being that lives in heaven. And you know his voice is, hello, hello, hello. When you get there, God, and then there's got to be this beard because he's been around a long time. He's grown out for trillions of years. And, sandals, and where did you get that idea? Why can't he be wearing high-end footwear? So what does God look like? Well, we have an attachment. People have had near-death experiences, and they're on the internet, they're selling books even, telling people, I met God. You met God? I want to know. Well, sandals and, and so on. It's a long robe, and people are buying this going, wow. And it's nice that they get excited about God in some way. But what I'm saying is that the story they're sharing, those other people are sharing, is their perception, their expectation of what God is. It would be very hard for a human being to go to the other side and hear the voice of God saying, I'm going to appear to you in 5, 4, and you go, I don't want to have any expectation of what this will look like. Release from my mind all expectations. You're allowing God to be what God is. Is that cool? I'm going to let God be what God is. I'm not going to, I want to meet God from people meet Jesus. And of course he's wearing a robe. That's not the fashion anymore. Why can't he have picked up a suit somewhere? Why is he still in a robe? Because that's what you expect to see. People describe heaven, pearly gates. Why? Because they made up the stories of what heaven looks like in the Middle Ages when kings had kingdoms. And they had these gates. And they had roads into the kingdom. But if it's God, it's got to be roads of gold. It's got to be something really cool and embellished. What if you close your eyes and they say you're going to heaven? I know nothing. I don't want any of my mind to play into this. That's kind of risky and weird to the average human mind. I don't know what anything is for. Do you understand? If I am going to heaven right now and I allow my mind to get filter, which is not evil, it's not bad, it's normal. But if I allow my mind to filter, it means I'm allowing the limitations in my beliefs to be projected onto God. Are you willing to say, I don't know? What if instead of this giant white-haired hello, hello voice, it's just, hey, Hey, man, how you doing? Welcome to heaven. You know, would that be okay? Oh, you know, this is weird. Listen, Lord, could you dress it up a bit? You know, you know, would that be okay? I don't know. I don't know what this is going to look like or feel like, but I'm willing to find out. You see? That Middle Ages story of the Arthurian knights, all summarized, it's that this woman says to a knight, I'm going to be able to appear to you any way you want. And I'm just paraphrasing the whole story. She's, a witch or whatever. So she says, I will appear to you any way you want me to appear to you. And it's like the thoughts, wow, really? I will appear to you any way you want me to appear to you. And again, I'm paraphrasing or simplifying the story. So how do you want me to appear to you? You know what he says? I'll leave it to you. And then miracles happen for him. Because he allowed, and in that day of chivalry and so on, he allowed the woman to be whoever she really is, instead of let me perform, let me be for you. Now, that said, I think you guys, for the most part, are okay with the idea of letting God be what God is instead of being an image of us. Agreed? Okay. Then we also have to agree to let your kids be who they are, not what you hope they would be, and your partners to be who they are and not what you hope them to be. It's okay for you to say to them, I have this weird agenda. I would love you to never burn my food. I would like you to always take out the trash. I would love for you to inherit $1 billion so I don't have to work. I have all kinds of things. And they should say, could you write them all down? Well, thank you, beloved. Yes. And they, write it on flash paper, make it easier for me. Burn it. And that partner needs to say, I cannot. I have to tell you, honey, there's a part of me that would love to fulfill the entire list. I would love to not ever be sick. I would love to always be perfect and whatever, I would love, but I can't. So I'll accept if you're saying goodbye to me today for my inability to do that. What has to happen is we agree to burn that and say, now would you like to get to know who I am? Well, can you tell me first? Before I make any commitments? Who are you really? And that person should say, I don't know. I'm finding out. Do you want to walk with me while I find out? And then the person can say, no. If you'd have asked me a month ago, maybe, but too much water under the bridge. Or they could say, man, that's weird. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I'd like to do that. And isn't that cool? Yes. Don't wrong them if they can't, because whatever the reason, it's done and they can't go further with that. Don't wrong them for that. But if you and I can say, it's risky, like I'm going to try this out. Even coming to a spiritual center when they asked me to come here. There's certain, I don't really know what that's going to look like per se, but I know that what I do, I create great things with what I do. That's how I feel. I create. I'm not saying flawless person. I'm saying I know how to create really wonderful things. And so this is going to be really cool. But when I had well-known spiritual leaders from around the planet calling me, Michael, I heard they're offering you to be the spiritual leader over in Sedona. I said, yeah. They said, don't do it. I'm like, what? Don't do it. We know the history of that place, not Sedona, but the center that was once here 20 years ago. There's a history and it's craziness. Lots of competition, lots of gossip, backstabbing, everybody wanting the job, fighting with each other. And I'm like, wow, that was not in the job description at all. But I decided to commit and go anyway. And so sometimes that's what you do. It might not be a perfect picture, but what can we pull off? What can we bring together and work out here? If it's way outside of what your image, now I'm not talking about just projecting an image. I'm saying if it's outside of what seems good and healthy and expansive, then it's okay to say, no, I'm not going to Sedona for drama, which is really a funny thing to say. But since it dramatizes everything, Sedona magnifies. So we have to let go of everything. We have to let go of all the negatives, but all of our projections. Your kids, be careful. There's going to be a part of you that hopes that they are a certain way. But that is a projection. That means you put them in a box, and they will have to find a way either to break out of the box or succumb to it. If they succumb to it, they're going to feel lifeless. They'll probably struggle with things like, no offense meant, but things like depression or asthma, because they can't breathe. They're in a box and they can't breathe, you see? And, or the opposite, they break free. Addiction and other things to rebel. I mean, that's just in child psychology. They're going to try to individuate, whether it's the twos or the teens or whatever period. But there's lots of micro releases of our children. I'm not saying it's easy because, but I love them and I want them to get straight A's. And why? Well, because then they'll go to a better college. What if they don't want to go to college? That's unacceptable. My children will go to college. Oh, another box. That'll go well. So the universe is saying, can you just love? Well, yes, as long as, you see, and that's not healthy. It isn't healthy for you, but it isn't healthy for them. And they're going to have to let go of their images of a mom or dad who just loved and accepted them. It didn't work that way, and they're going to have to figure out how to bring in forgiveness and find themselves. But the parents, the micro adjustments, the releasing, the constant releasing, and it's in stages, but it's big. I mean, it's got to happen. Hundreds and hundreds of micro releases of our image of our children, but definitely big stages of it too, such as when they individuate in their teens and so on. I've probably said before, like my kids, when they were younger, I just never had this thing about straight A's, which is a goal, by the way. Like you look at the report card and you're wanting A's. My thing was always, are you happy? I want you to be happy and get C's, then miserable and get A's. But my kids, you could just tell they're like, that's not the way parents are supposed to be. And I don't know how to be any different. So we could have one of those conversations where I go, this is how it is with me. If you need a straight A parent, come back with a different parent next time. You have to get over that guy that said, I just want you to be happy. Darn. You can be attached not only to your political favorite, but you can be attached to resenting the opposition. Right? Yes. Now check this out. If I have a favorite candidate, by the way, it's the only good one, and I'm attached to that. But no, I also, if I have a great one, I also have attachments to my issues with the other one, against the other one. But if you have issues, you're constricted, which means you can't freely think to even know who's right to vote for because you're stuck. You're stuck. It's all right, yeah. You see? I don't know. I'm so confused. Now, I never got into that sort of thing. But it's bizarre, this thing these people do, politics and voting, and it's weird to me. You can put on one channel and go, well, that's totally convincing. They must be right. Flip to another and go, that's totally convincing. Because everybody's lying. So I don't know. God. Now, you're going to ask God, which one should I vote for? God will say, me. Yeah, but you're not on the ballot. Yeah, write it in. Add other, the Lord. So we have to let go. And I know some of you are already irritated going, no, this guy's wrong. He needs to vote for somebody. Well, that's fine. Don't be attached to what I say. up here. But you also have to let go of positive attachments, like spiritual ones, or what God, your kid. I understand there's negative things to release, hurts, wounds, patterns, but there are positive attachments that seem positive, the way I want my partner to be. You can be attached to romance. I can't wait until, they show up. A knight with a sword, and helmet and horse, and that's not even legal anymore. Now you've got somebody in jail, in chainmail, going, I thought this was the way I was supposed to be. I had that happen once. I was off to a martial arts class, and I'm walking through this field with all these weapons, and this police car pulls up. I had a report. And I had like machetes and swords, and, what's that all for? Oh, it was just to walk down the street and hack up people. No. They're just martial arts swords, anyway. So you go and marry somebody that's got this, the knight in the shining armor, the swords, it's not going to work. You got to let go of even the positive attachments. And that means your foods, your religions, your things that seem like they're good, healthy positives. If I am in recovery and it's working for me and it feels great, but I get attached, if I'm a sponsor and I get attached to how you need to do your recovery, it's going to pull me under. Every time you sink, I lost you. You see what's going to happen there? Gurus. See, I can only be a teacher. I can't be a guru. That's not my thing. I can be a teacher, and I can say, I really love you all, but I can't be attached that you'll like everything I say. You see what I mean by that? You can't be attached that your kids will agree with everything, and you can't be attached your partner will agree. There's those hopes and positives. You can't be attached to those either. There's positives and negatives with those like gurus. A guru can create a psychic connection to their students, chelas, students, disciples, whatever you want to call them. He can have that psychic connection. Now, the positive is they having a psychic cord to them, they can actually, on other dimensions, work with their clients subconscious, like dream state even. That's kind of cool that they create that level of connection. But if said guru also has any weird agendas or just limits in what they can teach, you're psychically now enmeshed with that, and you're stuck with that. It's nice if, I'm not saying it's all wrong or bad, because a guru, because Yogananda, for example, he had people and they got closer and they became administrators, right-hand people. It's nice when a person that's a guru that could psychically tune in positively or negatively to somebody. It's nice if they can also create trusted friends, an accountant or somebody to schedule their flights properly, or people to take care of them, even a lover, friend, whatever it happens to be. That's very beautiful. So even with things like that, a seemingly beautiful thing, a disciple and their teacher, yes, but it can be very confusing. The closer we get, the more confusing it can become. If I'm a guru and you're my person that I've taken from student to accountant, it becomes very challenging because we have conversations now about budgets. It's a different conversation. So I have to not be attached to you being exactly the way you were as my teacher or my student. We have to accept, and there's other levels that we have to do things. Can we pull that off? Do you mind if you're my student at the center, but also you're my mechanic? I don't know. Are we mature enough to pull that off? Because when I take you my car and you give it back to me and the engine's gone and I say something and you go, I thought you were spiritual, man, but you're a hypocrite. You mean because my engine's gone and I dared to say something? Yeah, see, you're putting it on me. The engine's gone. So it gets very confusing. It can get very confusing. One of you asked about not taking things personally, and that's what happens is I will more often take things personally when I have an agenda or an attachment or a need. Now, So in the example of the mechanic and my engine's now missing, I have to be honest, I did expect to have an engine in it when I got it back. I mean, silly me. Call me silly, call me presumptuous, but I thought there was going to be an engine, and it's gone. Know the truth, but respect the illusion. The truth is the real soul in that person could not have done this, and the real soul in me could not have had this happen. So join me, brother, on that level where in spirit, I love you. But on the material level, I'm confused, and I might have to take certain actions. And that's where you have to respect the illusion. Play the game. The trick is, as Krishna has taught us in many teachings, including the Gita, you know, the point being, it's not should I or should I not take the person to court. Whether you do or not, the question is, how can I take care of this and not hate them? How can I take care of this incident, this issue, this circumstance, whatever it happens to be, and still wish them the best or love them? It is okay to get the paperwork done properly in a divorce. It is okay. My job would be, please guide me on which boxes to check. Guide me on what to write and what to say. If it's true that they did this and this, write it down. Well, but I don't want to be mean and non-spiritual. Did it happen or not yet? Then write it down. If you feel hatred while you write it, and then go off and pray. God, I wrote that and I still feel some triggers around that. My job is to have the stuff released and transcended, healed, let go of. The facts I can still write. Make sense? It's just, imagine, the concept of letting go is synonymous with non-attachment. We've done a talk here just on that. There's attachment, right? We know what that looks like. Detachment is an opposite extreme. Just these extremes, Republican, Democrat, and whatever other extremes. Extremes are usually not the healthy way to go. So attachment is unhealthy, but so is detachment. Attachment means you're all needy. Detach means you're cold. I don't want either of you. That doesn't interest me. What I want is I'm going to keep working on non-attachment. And I really favor people around that are into the non-attachment. So if I have a slip today, I mess up today, you aren't attached. You can allow that and accept that that's okay. And if you slip today, it's okay. I'm not attached to that. It's okay. But I'll still say what I need to say and file papers if I need to file papers. But non-attachment is the way to go. You're not going to have as easy a time letting go of things if you're attached to them. So keep, as best you can. If I'm hurting in some way, physically, emotionally, whatever, if I'm hurting, there's some form of an attachment here. There's some form of a not healing. There's some form of a not letting go. Healing and letting go are synonymous. You can't heal if you don't let go. And if you do let go, you'll start to heal. So what are you not? What am I not letting go of? Where am I holding on to something here? You don't have to analyze it overly so. You don't have to try to fix it. It's more of a state of surrender, which is also letting go. I don't know if I'm supposed to get up and walk from this hospital bed or if I'm supposed to transition. You see? I don't know. Stay unattached. I'm open either way. If I open my eyes tomorrow and I'm checked out of the hospital and I'm healed, I'm going to bring good to the world. If I find myself on the other dimensions tomorrow, I'm going to bring good. That's not going to change. The real me is not going to change. Rather than, I opened my eyes and apparently I'm still on earth. That could only mean that I went to the other side and I wasn't good enough. God sent me back. And typical, just like my first several husbands. God rejected. You can make up stories if you want. It's just not healthy. It's just not, and it's not true. Stay out of it. Stay unattached to these things. We've got to let go of the positives and the negatives. The positive attachments can lead, the negative attachments, they'll eat you alive. They can eat you up inside. Positive attachments will almost harm you more emotionally and psychologically. the attachments here to the, certain levels of material things especially, it's going to eat you up inside. But when you have positive attachments, positive, falsely positive, pseudo positive, like I found my perfect partner, they let you down and emotionally you crash. You see the difference? The negative attachments can cause you to hurt and eat up inside and anger, but the positives will also have an effect because they're not real. They're still attachments. So they can lead to you feeling let down emotionally. And those results can cross over a bit, but that's just a general rule, let's say. So one of you asked about protection from projection. So let me go into that for a minute before we finish up. Remember, I think it was last week or the week before, I talked about this. First of all, guys, we manifested a body and a mind. We manifested the belief that we're separate from God, which means it tends towards attachments. Why? Because it compensates, but it doesn't really compensate. But the reason you attach to positives and negatives is so that you have some opinion that you're holding on to make you feel alive. Letting go means I don't know. Letting go means I'm going to be so vulnerable. I don't know why this happened. I don't know why this person did this, but I'm going to make some reason up because they're bad or I'm bad. What if I don't know? Meaning vulnerability, not ignorance. I don't know. All I know is this is what happened, and it's time for me to be free of this. I don't have to say, I'm condoning the behaviors of others. What I can say is, I'm done with its effects on me. You see, like cutting the cords but not cutting cords like I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. It's the cord cutting means I'm free, I'm free, I'm free. But remember, if you want to practice true forgiveness and you want to say I'm free, you have to wish it upon them too. If you say I'm free, you're not. I'm free, there's no such thing. There's a misunderstood line, one of the most popular in the Bible. Judge and you will be judged. What does it mean? Very obviously. If I judge you, I'll be judged back. That's karma. That's in the Old Testament, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You heard any of those before? That's karma. If you judge, you will be judged. Okay? There's all kinds of parables about it. There's stories about it. There's factual historic events that tell you the same thing. Not only biblical, but outside of the Bible. That what you do comes back. Karma. That's actually not the main meaning of judge and you shall be judged. I'll share this with you. It's a bit out there. But here's what it really means. If I judge someone that's doing something hurtful, the fact that they're out here doing something hurtful is actually evidence. They're doing something hurtful to me. It's evidence that I've already judged myself as deserving of that action. Judge and you are judged. As soon as you have something that can irritate you, it means I must have already been off. No. I can't accept that. When somebody does something bad, they're bad. And you're what? I'm just an innocent victim. Be careful. Because your innocence is so sublime, it can't even be in the material world completely. So you can't be an innocent victim. You can have a pretend innocent victim role. It's a mask. It's a suit you wear. It's an outfit you put on. But your real innocence is pure. It's divine. So you're a divine being and people sling hurtful statements at you. You're not like, oh my God, a minute ago I was one with God, but you said this dress doesn't look good on me. I don't know how I'm going to even exist now. A divine being, even angels wouldn't get offended, let alone your pure divinity. Most beings in any kind of realm of higher dimension wouldn't get triggered. Why are you upset? Why are you triggered at what they said? I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm saying on some level you're susceptible to what they have to say. That's why Jesus is letting them. They beat him up. They puncture his body. They put on this crown of thorns. They're humiliating him. And what he's doing is, I still don't believe you. You're this and this. I don't really care what you think. You know? Well, if you say this, we're going to crucify you. Then let me say it twice. Because nothing you think you can do to me can you do without me allowing it. I can just spiritually sneeze and you would cease to exist. But that's not what I'm going to do, because if I retaliate to what you're doing, it validates it's wrong. If I validate that it's wrong, I'm validating that you're wrong and you're flawed. But if I validate that you're a flawed being separate from God, hurtful and selfish, etc., then so am I. Because as I judge you, I'm judged. Not just karmically. Secretly, it means I've already decided that. That's a very tough one, man. It really is a tough pill to swallow. Because we're programmed to think the only way you can have, we'll talk about this maybe next week, but the only way you can have real innocence is that you're divine. All human versions of innocence are a lie. They're just temporary things that we're projecting. And once again, it becomes like a little box that we put ourselves in. So if other people do something to me and I don't know of anything I did to create it, they're the bad guys and I'm the good guy. See, but it makes sense. It kind of helps my mind go, good guy, bad guy, and I'm the good guy. I like that. I ended up the good guy. But good guy associated with being a victim all the time of bad guys? Is that as good as it gets? No, there's a different kind of innocence. One that isn't victim or victimizer, guilty and innocent, duality and so on. Instead, it's, I'm right here in my real innocence, where the victims and the victimizers are just images that I can release. In my center, I see it, and it's okay. I forgive you, you know not what you do. But Jesus didn't just look at like victimizers and like hate them, and victims and just pity them. Jesus, when he saw someone hurt by others, he loves them the same as the others that are causing the hurt. They know not what they do is not just the bad guys that do. It's also the people having it done to them. Do you understand that? It's children of God, get up and walk. You see, Jesus, it's not just victim and victimizer. Even the person that can't walk is a victim of a disease. That's not even a person over here causing the harm. And he's still saying, get up and walk, because I do not believe in the power not only of your victimizers, but of your internal victimizers. See, I don't believe in it. Well, but look at me. Doesn't matter. I don't believe in that. You're taking that on and you don't have to. Well, but the sins of one generation are passed down. No, they're all lies. You could have said it's my karma. If that's what you want to believe, then stay sick. But there's another way of looking at this. Would you like to know that other way? You're innocent of everything. You're innocent of believing you're separate. You're innocent of creating a world like the material world, a dense universe. You're innocent of all the catastrophes that go on in the world. Well, I know I'm innocent because they did it. No, that's not real innocence. Innocence that involves blame to others against your innocence is a false sense of innocence. I'm innocent beyond my capacity to understand. Imagine that. There's an innocence in me that's just, wow. You know, you picture Jesus standing all fiery and flaming golden, this beautiful, brilliant light body he could stand in. That person you're looking at is the presence of innocence. The real him is a state of innocence. There's a point where you won't have to use the word innocence, and that is when we let go of the word guilt. The opposite. It's not like you have to go, I can't wait to go to heaven and see people that look innocent. You actually have to find their innocence while you're here to be able to find it there. If I can't believe in our innocence here, I'm not going to know it anywhere else. You won't fully embody it here. You won't fully see it in others here. but glimpses. There's a paraphrase, a biblical, a New Testament passage that says something to the effect of, at one time I used to see through a glass that was smudged and dirty, so I didn't see clearly. But now, meaning now that I'm awakening to Christ consciousness, I can see things more clearly. And that's a lot of what's really happening. I want to see people as they really are. Now, again, remember, I want to see God as it is, and I expect white hair and all that. When we say, I want to know this person beyond their illness, like an affirmation, I want to know that you are perfectly whole, healed, and, so on, prosperous or whatever it happens to be. Asking God even, show me how you see them. But if in the back of your mind, you already have what that's going to look like, it's an agenda, it's called. God, show me how to see them as you see them, as long as it looks like this. Still tampering, are you? It's better to say, and I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know, but it's got to be good. See, stay out of it. Show me how to see them. And some people will do that. They'll do eye gazing exercises. Wow, man, your face is morphing, but you're still projecting onto them. I want to love you as you really are, but you're still going to project a bit. I want to have a client healed and whole. What does that look like? Test yourself. What does that look like? Well, they would get up and walk. Really? Who decided that? Oh, I snuck another box in there. Keep coming back to, I don't know. I'll leave that to the mother. You see? And if the mother says, thank you, you're helping me to help them cut some cords that tied them to the material world, and now they're free and they'll pass on. Don't assume healed means they always get up and walk. Why do you think healed means they can't pass on? It just means attachments are gone. That means if they pass on, and that's good, great. If they don't, that's great. You see? I don't know. Like Jesus taught us to say, I don't know. I don't know. God knows, but I don't. When I say I'm not disempowering myself when I say I don't know. I'm saying the little self that I think I am does not know. But the real me does know. So how do I bring that one in? I'm going to ask the Holy Spirit, the Divine Mother, to help me do that. When you call upon her view of things, she doesn't try to work with your dense self. She brings your dense self to higher awareness so that you can see differently. Is that making sense? All right. And I hope that answered those of you who are asking about the word surrender as well. Surrender is let go. Let go, let God. Not let go and let go, not let go and let God do what you think it should do. It's, I don't know. Well, my child is sick. This one's justified. I want them healed. But I leave it to your hands as long as you heal them. Because it's an innocent child of yours. There's reason to have more controlling attitudes. No, it's, I don't know what you have in store for them. But help me to see it through the eyes of peace. Live or die, that's a hard one to do. Live or die, I give them to you. But imagine what could happen. If you really love that child, you gave their soul to God. How could that go badly? Wow. And God's like, whoa, this is great. I'll bring him to Heaven Heaven University. I'll bring them to the best schooling and everything because you let them go. Please take a few centering breaths. Soak that in. Judge and ye shall be judged. What it really means is judge, and you're going to end up seeing the evidence that you've already judged yourself. Any flaws and issues we see in others, it doesn't make us bad, it makes us human. When we judge any kind of things in others, it's actually mirroring to us confirmation that we already first judged ourselves. You don't have to know what that means, just at least be open-minded enough to let the possibility soak in. We'll share a brief meditation. Be courageous as possible. Think of a few people, one at a time, but let them come into mind. A few people that have harmed you, pushed your buttons, annoyed you, triggered you. A few people. Don't try to control who they are. It might even be somebody that seems nice but triggered you once. If they come to mind, let the Holy Spirit be in charge of that. Let her bring what really needs to be worked on. A few different people that have hurt you, pushed your buttons, etc. Then give them each a label for a moment. Just trust. Give them a label for a moment. Like that person, it was all about they betrayed me. That one neglected me. Give them a label for a moment. They never loved me as much as I loved them. They were selfish, whatever the labels might be. For each of those few people. Now, given who they are, what they seem to have done, alter the wording of the title. You neglected me, you betrayed me. Let's alter the wording of the title for a moment. What if the title gets changed to reflecting something inside yourself that you were not seeing in yourself? Especially when we're busy assigning the titles to them. For example, instead of saying you betrayed me, you might say, you showed me how little I thought of myself. Change the label, the title, to something else, a lesson that they might have been teaching you. We're not condoning the behaviors. We're going deeper into you, where you're at with all this. If someone made you feel like you had no value, you can say, you were evidence to me that I believed that I had little value. Just change the words from they seemed, etc., to what it could have meant in you. They cared little can become, I didn't feel cared for. Now hold the person in mind and repeat just in your mind. You can let my words be yours for you, or you can quietly repeat them to yourself. Look at each of those people clearly. We won't do one at a time, a few of them. And hear words along these lines. I can see now that I hired you to play this role and magnify this message to me. Because I didn't want to believe that this is actually how I felt about myself. I gave you a label because I didn't want to believe that this is how I felt about myself. But I am retiring you now from this role. I am fully stepping up and taking responsibility and facing these judgments that I had on you and on myself. Be free and be on your way, brother, sister. All of you. Be free. I release you from all these roles. And I refuse to hold hatred or resentment or grievance towards you. I release you to find your light. But I'm also releasing myself. In all honesty, I do not know how to find the goodness of my true self. But my Divine Mother does. So I call on you, Holy Spirit of God, to begin teaching me now and releasing me from all false impressions I once held and patterns and beliefs. All that I held about myself and others. I surrender all of this as unconditionally as possible. Not only the things I can remember and think of, even those that I don't remember or think of. I am surrendering everything about myself to you. You show me who I am. You show me what I deserve as a child of God. And I truly release all the people that came to mind. I might still be tempted to feel hurt now and again. I understand, because that's the temptations we have. Lead us when we are in temptation. Deliver us from the illusions of our ego and judgments. And I can't do that for myself in my life without wishing that upon the lives of others. I'm not condoning their behaviors. I'm saying it's done, and its effects on me are being removed. And so it is. Very gradually, take your time to reintegrate to the room. It would not be unreasonable for you to assume that having experienced a healing, a forgiveness like this, that you will not see or witness a miracle in your life. So you can call upon the Holy Spirit and say, hey, if letting this go means a burden lifted, how could I not feel lighter? So let me, stay with me here. It doesn't end now. Stay with me, Holy Spirit. Remind me, show me in my dream some beautiful vision of something. Show me the healing, a spontaneous healing. One of these people that I said goodbye to, maybe I feel a shift inside. Maybe they call, maybe they do whatever. Even if they say, I want to apologize, don't be attached to that. Be grateful, non-attachment. Know this, if someone's ever hurt you, I swear to you, their soul, their real spirit could not have done such a thing. Their soul is very sorry that their human personality did what they did. Their soul feels so bad about what they've done to you. Their soul is going to make their personality reincarnate again and again until it's clear. I think that's pretty good evidence that they didn't want to really do that. Or else they wouldn't keep coming back to deal with the guilt of it. Is that making sense? Do I want them? Do I need to keep raking them over the coals? Do I need them to do penance the rest of eternity? No. And especially since wishing that upon them, I'm stuck. It's hard for the human mind, because the ego sabotages this. It's hard for the human mind to understand. My releasing this doesn't condone what they've done. I just refuse to hate them for it, and I'm willing to affirm in them there is a light that would never have done such a thing. But in me, there's a light that would never have experienced such a thing. Okay? Thank you. We're going to share, thank you, sweetie, a couple of announcements, and that's it, and we'll do our closing prayer. We're going to do our collection. It should only take a couple minutes Here's a couple of announcements while you're getting your collections ready, your donations. And there are lots of different ways you can donate. We appreciate anything you folks do. Tithing regularly, spontaneous donations, weekly Sundays. But the weekly Sundays are for things here. That doesn't pay for a workshop you do next week with somebody coming into town. Separate, just help us in any way you can. We love to see you attend events, as many as you can. It supports us, but go to the ones that really speak to you. We have our psychic fair today, right? Yeah. So we have the Sedona monthly psychic fair, intuitive arts fair here, the third Sunday of each month. Check it out. Bring friends, bring your family members, get them all reading so they can learn about themselves. I'm kidding. Mom, you need a reading. But the chaplains do a prayer circle after service. You can join us and add to the prayer, or you can ask for prayer if you have something that's truly on your mind, troubling you. If you want to know about private sessions with me, you can go on my website, michaelmirdad.com, and read about those. We have crystal bed sessions. We have a yurt out here, a little round yurt. And in there's a crystal bed you can lay out and have the crystals over each chakra, and light comes through them. It's really incredible stuff. Our bookstore, remember, you don't pay taxes on it, but also we don't ramp up the prices of things that's typically done in a retail environment. So everything's pretty, much more affordable there. On social media, if you watch us, if you're here or if you're online, you can see this on Facebook when it's live, but also replays when it's on YouTube, and they end up in our playlist on YouTube as well. We have several little folders in there with different topics. This afternoon from 1 to 4, like I said, we have our psychic fair. But you can even do the readings online, on the phone with some of the readers. Just call the office and they'll help you schedule a reading with somebody. This Friday from 5 to 8 and Saturday from 11:30 to 6, we have Matt Kahn and Joy Kahn doing the Law of Conscious Creation. It'll be an afternoon, 2-day workshop, a transformative 2-day workshop, exploring the keys, the key reasons we stay stuck in repeating patterns and so on. So you might already know their work and his work. So if not, you can go online, learn more about it, and then decide if you want to sign up for it. But they typically fill the house, so you want to sign up ahead of time if possible. And remember, the Enchanted Healing Room is now open. It's just a block away. We have a room that we have several healers doing several healing arts. So there's a flyer for it in the foyer. You can check it out and see what you would like to experience. Massage, lymphatic work, cranial work, chakra work. I mean, lots of different things they do. It's worth checking out, especially if you're visiting from out of town. Lastly, we decided just moments before the service, we had our board meeting, if you'd be so courageous to do so, next Sunday, show up in a Halloween costume. Serious. Now, we're not talking about hatchet in the head, Friday the 13th type. We don't want any ghoulish looking gross things. Because we just bid farewell to them, the ghouls of our life. But dress up something creative, interesting. You can go online and still get something, probably rushed out to you. Or just put it together. There's also stores in town, you can go and play. What? One more time. Oh, and there'll be a prize for best dressed. I thought you said brides and mistresses. Isn't that weird? Brides and mistresses. Oh, prize for best dressed. Bring your brides and mistresses. Fun for the whole family. Wow. So there will be a prize for the best dressed. I think what we decided on was a $50 gift certificate for the store, the bookstore. Ooh. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Please take your love offering. Be as generous as you can be. Online, you can click a button there to donate. And the folks here, Your donations go in the purple bags. But the baskets are there for any extra donations, like people of lesser means or special projects that we help, get done here at the center. So, together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and so it is. Thank you. It'll only take them a minute to pass those around, then we'll do our closing prayer. In the meantime, can anyone share what did you learn or hear today that made the most sense or that was the most impactful to you for yourself or people in your life?
Unattachment.
The non-attachment versus detachment and attachment. Nice. That topic is a lecture, I think, a talk that's probably in our YouTube channel. Yes?
I think that positive attachment was something that I've never
Oh,
heard, and
nice. That people typically think of attachments to things as negative attachments, or the need to let go of things that are negative. Positives as well, she's saying. Positive attachments got to go, but also positive, agendas and whatever it might be, visions, just to stay out of all that if possible. Yes.
I love fully releasing into I don't know, because really in reality everything's new.
Yeah. Really liking the part, the I don't know. I mean, even the idea of my positive attachment of what God must be like. It's not a negative. It's beautiful because I know exactly what God's supposed to look like. It's very positive because it's exactly what I want, which is an attachment again. Yes.
Even just reframing my own understanding of what letting go is, and do we really want to hold other people, for eternity for
Right.
what we think that they've done?
A deeper level of understanding what letting go means. Remember, you let it go or it will grow. It won't just sit static, and it won't even just go, well, we're kind of bored. I think we'll fade away. No. The things you don't let go of will grow. They just keep growing because ignoring them feeds them, attacking them feeds them, fearing them they just grow. But remember when we started this a while ago, that these things grow so that you'll see them and release them. And in so doing, you're home. Yes?
Well, and that it's a process.
It's a process. Forgiveness is not an event, it's a process. Who else? We had several. Yes?
The shift also in understanding of judgment, that if something is presenting as a conflict or
Yeah.
something, it's because we have already.
Very good. You like that one, huh? Yeah, remember that one. Judge and you will be judged. No. Judge confirms. I've already judged. That's a cool one, isn't it? Like, oh my God. Yes.
What I came here today to hear was as I began to awaken, I'm judging myself because I'm not having those real glamorous experiences people have. And to let go of that and just watch it unfold.
Yeah. Becoming aware of how you even judge yourself for not having quite the glamorous epiphanies that some people talk about. Oh my God, I had this meditation. I saw this white light. Damn you. You got white light, purple light, whatever. Like Charlie Brown, I got a rock. Last couple people. Yes.
Whenever we judge something, good or bad, if it's good, we say it's already been tied up. And if it's bad, we say it needs a knot. And I know how to tie that knot.
Nice.
And I don't know.
Did somebody have their hand up? Yes. The absolute purity of innocence. Somebody remind me, throw that out next week and we'll go into innocence a bit more. Yes.
I just wanted to say thank you. I was driving here and I was thinking or asking that I knew that you were going to cover whatever it was that I needed, and I certainly got that.
Nice.
I think for me, when you said, like remembering who we are, like when somebody says something hurtful to you, and just yesterday my ex-partner said something to me, and I just felt really rejected.
Yeah.
And I
Nice, nice. You're welcome. Just really hands-on, One of the things she said, though, coming here and just surrendering to Spirit that somehow I'm going to say things she needed to hear. And that's a really beautiful thing. That's trusting in God. Letting go of what you think needs to be said or not said, or by me or partners or children, their way their lives should go. Letting go of what you think should be done is actually a testament and test of faith that it'll be good, that God's there. But be careful, because when you say, I'm in this struggle, but I'm going to pray and I'm going to just trust God's going to take care of it, you already have an agenda of what that's supposed to look like when it gets fixed. Wait for it. Instead, I'm going to trust that the greatest good is going to come from this. The person that's going to leave you. I know, God, you're going to talk to them and you're going to say, now, I wouldn't leave her if I were you, because she's a good catch. That's in my head, But what if, God, I don't know. I trust you to bring me the greatest good, even when it doesn't go the way I think or want. I trust in the greatest good. And it's possible that they go. And I'm mad and I'm scared and I'm sad and confused, but I know, I trust God that it must have been the best thing. And that's where that deeper level of trust goes. And I know it hurts still. So feel hurt, but know that's just for today. This too shall pass. One more.
So the issue of time in the answering of prayers or intentions, and how ego is quote unquote serving us by disconnecting our intention from.
Yeah. The concept of how the ego uses time, especially to make us become faithless. If it's not happening when I want, it must not be happening. Just look at it and go, ooh, I just caught that, and be able to laugh at it a bit. Okay? Please stand for our closing prayer. Thank you all for trusting, what we do here and what we share. Anything that made sense to you, own it as your level of consciousness. Share it. Don't repeat. Michael said, repeat it as, you know what? And just tell it as though it's truth. Share things. Be confident that you know. We're being trained by the Divine Mother. This isn't a lecture hall. This is us being trained to go to higher and higher levels of consciousness. I truly know that. So it's nice that we join together two or more and surrender to that process. So thank you. The light of God surrounds us.
We are the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
We are the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
We are the power of God.
And the presence of God watches over us.
We are the presence of God.
Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Peace be with you all. Thank you for being here.